Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is continuing to break down. And I know you must be wondering, should we be getting worried? Because this is the comment I see every single day. Should I sell everything right now? And I'll quickly reiterate one thing. As long as you're watching these markets very closely and you're just buying these dips, there's crazy amounts of gains to be made. Just buying into the December 13th dip right now, just take a quick look. We're already up 2.3%. And again, we trade with leverage on places like Bybit. And right now you can claim yourself a $500 trade for absolutely free. And so 3% might not look crazy to you, but with some leverage, this is crazy gains, guys. And this is exactly the strategy I described to you guys yesterday. If you did not get in just quite yet because you're watching the 40.2, 40.1K levels, I completely understand. I actually know a lot of traders that are right now still standing on the sidelines, waiting for a slight further correction, trying to enter not at this bottom, but at this bottom right here, which is still down roughly 1% further. And I know some of my traders are just basically doubling down because you've got to understand the longer term structure for Bitcoin is still extremely bullish. And as long as this bottom right here is not broken, there's no break of structure, which would basically look like a high point, a low point, a lower high point, a lower low point, and instead of being an uptrend, at that point it will become a downtrend. If you've not done it yet, by the way, guys, make sure you go ahead and press that like button, because I'm telling you right now, there are crazy gains to be made here, especially with trading crypto in a bull market. It is so easy, but so full of potential. So much money is about to be made. I keep telling you, so make sure that you press that like button and keep watching, because we've got something very important to discuss. And unfortunately, I was a little bit late with this video, but anybody that's been keeping themselves up to date with the recent videos knows this. We are still trying to just buy these dips aggressively. I think the most amount of money will be made by just adding to your long positions, and it doesn't feel like this is a massive capitulation event where all the bulls are getting trapped and the bear market is just continuing. This is just a nice rally in a bear market. I don't believe that, and because the earlier expectation was that we'll be revisiting this 40.2, 40.1K level, which still is very much in play actually. But the reason we might have seen a bounce here is because obviously you could see from the days after this massive liquidation event happened, we did bounce off of the about 40.7K level. And so it was very logical that the bulls were trying to defend that level. Might get broken though over the next few hours. And then our next major threshold to watch is about 40.1K. And you've got to understand, the more times that you hit a certain spot, the more obvious it's going to become that at some point it's got to break. And that's exactly what we saw throughout November here as well. We hit the same top over and over and over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You understand just how many times before eventually we broke through. We are obviously watching for that right now as well, and we'll have to adjust accordingly as we potentially actually get all the way towards 40.1K. But as of this point, we are expecting the bulls to significantly try and defend this level, because obviously we also bounced back up from here last time. And there's some potential that we actually don't even get all the way towards this level, but bounce slightly higher, mostly on the basis that they're going to try to defend that level by obviously buying in a little bit before it. But I'll tell you once more, I still believe it's a trap. And not for the bulls, but for the bears. It seems that they just want to accumulate for themselves some lower priced Bitcoin and are going to try shake you out right here. All this fear of, no, it's just a bull trap. No, we're going to come crumbling down. It really doesn't make sense anymore, which is why I'm right now so aggressively focusing on just buying the dip. Keep in mind, these guys do not want you to make money. They're trying to always keep you in a state of fear. I'm warning you though that some people indeed are quite weak, and these bears know it. There's a chance of a mass liquidation event like we've seen here, where again, the moment that 40.1-ish K gets broken, we see another significant wick downwards, which might actually pretty quickly get picked back up again, having a pretty big candle downwards, but even in that same candle, probably another wick up. And just to give some credit to the bears, we are seeing a descending triangle, which very often do break down towards the downside. And of course, we're keeping in mind that this rally here went so quickly towards the upside that if it does break, as I just said, it's gonna probably be a pretty quick wick downwards all the way towards 38K, because there's not really much liquidity, much support in the midst here. But as I stated, I do believe we will have some time to actually react, because we're gonna have to see how today continues on. Most likely we're gonna see some sort of bounce at this 40.1K level, if the bounce has not already happened, regardless of whether or not this breaks towards the downside hard. And if we do notice there's still weakness after bouncing back up, we might have to adjust and prepare for a worst case, which again is about 38K. But again, this is keeping in mind that on the base case, we are extremely bullish right now. There's really nothing keeping me in this mindset of, oh, we're gonna be seeing another $20,000 per Bitcoin soon. And from that perspective, as I stated before, we are mostly just looking to add to our long positions. And the idea is, where exactly do we open them up? And at what point should we quickly close them to regain that liquidity to hopefully enter yet another trade? And so I'm not necessarily saying that what I just told you is going to happen, but following the laws of probability, this is extremely likely. Obviously still though, not financial advice. But honestly, I think right now putting some buy orders around the 38K level is definitely not too crazy as a backup for in case we see a massive wick, just like we saw here on December 11th. As a baseline, as I've said though, guys, we are mostly just watching the traditional markets. If the traditional markets do manage to break new highs, which are happening in some of the markets already, but we're looking at the S&P right now, it's going to just be absolutely massive for Bitcoin. And that's why I keep thinking they're pressuring you downwards, but it doesn't really make sense. Bitcoin for the longest time has just been following the traditional markets. Why is it right now diverging from it? Which makes me think this is just a trap. I mean, the S&P is still creeping up ever so slowly. And the long story short is, as long as this continues to go towards the upside, there's almost nothing bad that can happen to Bitcoin, in my own opinion, in my own view. But I will obviously also tell you that if the S&P fails to take over that all-time high, the negativity might reflect back onto Bitcoin, but it's just not the expectation as of this moment. But I've also got one thing to show you, which is keeping me so solid, which is keeping me so strong, and it's one of the main reasons why I'm just adding so much margin to my long positions. I'm willing right now to take a massive hit on these longs and cut a little bit of the profit for right now in order to keep it open for one specific thing that we are seeing right now. Guys, if you've not done it yet, make sure you press that like button. And if you're into trading, make sure you check out the link down below to 𝗑𝗫𝗫 because of what I'm about to show you. Because ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely massive. Here we go. No, just kidding. This is just one funny thing that shows you the on-chain top and bottom indicators for Bitcoin. And we just know, realistically, we're not close to a top yet at all for some of the people that seem to be thinking so. But this is the one right here. This is the vortex indicator. And one of the most interesting parts about it is how every single time it flashed a couple months into the new bull run, a couple months after a low point was made. And as you can see, we saw a massive Bitcoin rally in the next, I guess, year or two afterwards. It happened time and time again. Reason that these two are combined so well is because if you take a look, we back in 2019 did have one fake out. Now we might add that that was a black swan event, as obviously the stock market also went down insanely hard and we had our CV19, if you know, you know. So I can't fully hold them to the same standard, but we did see a massive rally before another 60-70% drop or so before the rally continued. And I'm not really planning to keep adding to my longs 70% or so down. At the end of the day, if we're being serious here, right? Only longing Bitcoin is still a very valid and solid strategy. The only problem is the amount of time you have to keep them open, and with positive funding rates, it might just get too expensive to not be worth it. But that's the reason I like to combine these two. Right now, we are noticing a pretty significant rally, but it's similar to what we saw in 2019. So what's the big difference? Well, back in 2019, this signal did not flash. So even though we saw a pretty juicy freaking rally right there, the signal was pretty far off. But right now, it's looking like we are about to see it yet again, combined with the fact that on almost every single indicator, it looks like we've already hit the bottom a few months ago. Just like in these previous cycles, a bottom is hit a few months ago, or even you might consider this bottom here a month or two ago, and then boom, a massive rally. And right here again, bottom is hit a few months ago, just like how here the bottom was hit a few months ago, just like how here the bottom was hit a few months ago, and then boom, massive rally, and here, it's what we're expecting again. Boom, another massive rally. If you're still not convinced, do not worry. Right now, what we are expecting is some institutions are selling their holdings for the Christmas. It's what happens every single year. They want to show their boss, hey, look at how much profit we were able to realize. Give me a good, juicy Christmas bonus. And obviously, some of those guys are taking some time off to, I don't know, play with their kids and stuff. I mean, some traditional markets, I guess, are not 24/7, huh? But at the end of the day, a little bit of downside pressure in anticipation of these Bitcoin ETFs is not bad because we'd like to see a lower price when these Bitcoin ETFs spawn up rather than a higher price. And the institutions that are right now selling, lowering the open interest, etc., are also going to be the ones that are going to significantly buy over the next few months. And again, keep this right here in mind. And this is the main reason I'm just adding to my long positions. Make sure you're able to stomach another 10-15% drop or so. And if you guys want a new bot tutorial for some of the bots that I use, I might be able to show it to you guys soon. Let me know down below because I think that could also be very interesting, as it basically allows me to not do too much. You insert the strategy and it trades for you. And we're also thinking of opening up some copy trading spots. If you guys are interested in that, make sure you press that like button, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video tomorrow.